20 point consent calendar, approved June minutes from regular meeting and special meeting in July. I guess this is kind of a continuation of the special meeting in July.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
you could either approve it or you could do it next month if you wanted to.
Yeah, okay.
That's approved June minutes from regular meeting. And those be
Sorry, didn't realize you couldn't still play back, sorry.
Okay, so probably for tonight, we're just gonna work on unfinished business.
Are we going, so you're gonna make adjustments to the agenda? Probably everyone needs to know that.
Adjustments to the agenda. Oh, yeah.
And then talk
Adjustments-
about what they are.
Okay, adjustments to the agenda. So, since we don't have an update on Lori, Lori's not here, and we know that she's been dealing with some family business that is not enjoyable. I mean, I just went through all that myself. So we still have one candidate to interview, Terry, and that might be as far as we get tonight.
So are we gonna move this meeting to next week, or are we gonna move the whole vote to next month?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I don't think we can, I mean, we could tentatively plan to have the meeting next Monday, but until we hear from Lori to know for sure. So it's either gonna be next Monday or it's gonna be third Monday of August.
You should probably just push till next month then, if we can't guarantee our candidates. I don't want to keep dragging them in here every single week.
Exactly.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks for your patience here. But
Well, The other thing too is if you guys are in contact with Lori. and
I have had no contact with
Okay.
Lori, and Lori said she had one text. She sent several texts, but got one reply saying she's not doing well, but we know that what she's been going through is, I think her husband's on the verge of passing away.
Oh. Okay,
Pretty rough.
that is rough.
So, okay, so we'll just plan on interviewing Terry tonight and having our next regular meeting third week in August.
Good.
Do we need to vote on that?
I
Or?
think we do, because we approved well, I guess not if we're gonna go straight to August. I think if we moved it to next week, we
Okay.
would, because we have to approve a calendar, but if we're just going to August, I don't think so.
Okay, so our next regular meeting, third week of August, third Monday of August.
Should we go ahead and have Laura Lee do the director's report today, though, so that we're not behind on everything? Because this is technically now our regular, it's our regular meeting.
This is our
So
regular
we
meeting.
can hold off on the new business and do all the rest of the meeting.
I guess for you candidates, since we're ditching you guys till next month, if you don't want to hang around, you don't have to.
But
Thanks for
love to
showing-
interview
yeah.
Terry, so.
You stop.
You guys can say
There's no
whatever you want to
choice.
do. So.
Okay, I've been sitting all day.
Okay, well, let's have the sake, just so you know who everyone is. So we'll start with you, just a minute or so, introduce yourself.
Terry Cadigan, I'm retired, been a teacher for 4 years. I'm an active user of the pool. I've been part of the pool community here since 1986. I have a love for this place. I've used it a lot myself. I've known a lot of people come and gone through use of the pool, and I'd like to see my goals for it would be to see it continue, to see it improve, to work with a team to make improvements, and to see where we can go in the future with the pool.
Awesome.
Is there anything else specific that you would like
So
to know?
just a quick introduction. We'll get we'll empty the room when we do your interview. So it'll just be us.
And actually, Mark,
Yeah.
I don't think that we need to, because all of what they said is in the minutes that were posted, so everyone knows what everyone said now, so I'm not sure if
Oh.
anyone needs to leave.
Well, that is true. So your interviews are public record.
Yep.
So,
Oh, and that's what we didn't do yet. Yeah, well, we're gonna do the introductions and then we'll approve the minutes from last meeting. We talked about it for 1 second and then didn't do it.
so do we,
Let's just do the introductions like you were doing and then we'll do the minutes.
okay, gentleman in the green. Just want to
Introduce,
Yeah.
Ethan Aguirre. I'm a parent of some swim club members. Always seen these things happen. Never realized it was open up to the public, so I can start coming.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Swim team. Swim club.
Okay,
Clyde Root, community member of the community for as long as I can remember. Ran off, joined the Air Force for 12 years, came back. Done a lot of coaching. I think over 5,000 kids in the town. Stopped counting at 5,000. I'm on the Lebanon School District Board. I'm on the OSDA Board. And want to further my resume, I guess you call it. Introduce yourself.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, Robert Waterhouse, I'm a candidate for the board position. I've been an active user of the pool for 24 years. Just recently retired from Entech, and I own a small business in town, Corliss Farms, making easy flour and oil. And I want to contribute to the pool and see its mission grow and continue into the future.
Make your 100-mile mark this week?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
100 miles of swimming in a year?
Yep.
Impressive. Okay, Darla.
Darla Wilmer, I am a pool user and pool lover. I work at Intech also. Would really appreciate helping with the pool and feel that this is a real treasure in our community.
Thank you. Dave?
Dave Anwick, I was born and raised in Lebanon. Have used the pool for about 14 years now. Retired at Lebanon Fire District after 26 years with them. And I want to see the pool continue. I'm an avid user and an avid supporter. Let's see it continue.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Chris Miller, I am a drowner, and so I married my own lifeguard. I never did drown, but I don't swim well.
Your family of swimmers and.
My entire family is swimmers, five kids. 3 of those actually were lifeguards. So just kind of got the fond place in my heart, and I most fond person is the director here. So what can I say?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so do we want to approve the minutes now?
I think we should.
Okay. So have we all had a chance to review June's minutes from the regular meeting? And
Yeah, and the July
and
and last week's special meeting.
up to where we are.
Yep.
So everything
Yep.
is approved up to this moment.
I make a motion to approve all past minutes.
And I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. June minutes, special meeting in July is approved. So the unfinished business that we want to get taken care of, we'll get that done, and we'll take the director's report, and then we'll probably, that's about all we'll be able to accomplish tonight. So is that fair enough for the agenda?
Yep.
Okay, so Terry, we each have a question for you.
Okay.
My question you've already started on, just to go a little bit more deep in, is what's your relationship with the pool?
I'm a user,
Yep.
avid user. I've visited many pools. Wherever I go, I swim in pools. And so I see what other pools have done and what other pools are doing. And this is my home community. It's sort of here is my main pool, it's the pool I use primarily. I was a swim club member in my community when I was young. I've been a swimmer in high school and in year college. I've been around pools. I have my life saving. I have my WSI. I've never taken an active role besides the budget committees here. I had other board experiences. I was chairman of the Sunshine Industries Board for 6-7 years in the late 90s and the 2000s. I was the chair of the state F1 working group for the state for 20 years. A lot of board experience through that organization and the governing body for deaf-blind services throughout Oregon. So I have experiences somewhat with what boards do and how they function. And I felt like it was time for me to start giving back to a pool that I've been a member of for a lot of years.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I read everybody's application and then took a question or created a question off of what you wrote about why you wanted to be a board member. And you said, help staff maintain the facility, assist the board in options to support operations and maintenance. And I wondered what does that look like to you?
I think I'm not exactly sure. I think I would have to learn what the board's goals and directions were and to see how I could assist with those directions. I don't want to come in here and say, we need to do this, this, or that. I want to see what the collective group wants to try to accomplish and then work to active ideas and time and effort toward those ideas. Specifically, I would love to see the pool stay open. That's my main goal, is to see it open and see the staff. I'd love to see the staff stay. There's been a lot of staff turnover in my 25 years coming and going to the pool. I'd love to see that happen. And again, it's to see what the collective group wants to achieve in keeping the pool and then expanding the services and being part of it. Nothing specific. I don't want to come in here and say, I want to do this, this, or that. I think it's a collective discussion among the group as to what directions, how do we take our budget, what do we do with our budget, what could we improve, what do we try to do to raise funds, all those things, all the directions you're already taken, I'd like to be part of.
Thank you.
Well, that feeds right into my question. So in terms of raising funds, obviously we have a need at this pool, and our current budget is not closing that gap.
Yeah.
What would be your first ideas for closing that gap to meet those needs?
Again, I'm not sure for this particular governing body of the pool how it fully functions to access monies, to look at grants or what's out there. I think it would be a learning process for me the first year to learn what is out there, where are the monies, how do we apply for them, what are they for, what would we use them for. I'm a writer, I can write. I'm a fairly good organizer. I can organize thoughts into documents. I can help create those that would go on to receive monies for whatever our goals were, or trying to meet our goals. I could definitely be a part of that. Specifically, again, I don't want to just make statements about, again, the pool, whatever is needed to keep the pool in repair is the #1 priority in my mind. Of course, again, what we can do to maintain staff is another priority. How can we support community people who can't afford the use of the pool? They can't afford to pay for. What can we do? How can we provide additional services and resources to people to enjoy our pool, to use our pool? I'd love to see the expansion of time. Sunday, I was always a Sunday swimmer. It's not available right now. I'd love to see us expand back to that Sunday. Definitely maintain the 1 to 3, the evening hours for a general open swim that's in public, maintain those. Expand them for 10 somewhere in the schedule. There's just some ideas, but again, it's more about examining what the goals are of the group and to see where we go with those goals and how we can improve the pool through the use of the goal development that you already done.
Thank you.
Okay, well, as we thought we were gonna be making a decision tonight, but obviously that's not gonna happen since we're missing a board member, plus we have a vacancy, so we'll just hope the best for Lori and her situation with her family, and third week in August, we'll have our next meeting, and hopefully then we'll be able to give you a decision on where we're at. Question?
Just a question, not that we want to leave Lori out, but how does it work? You have to have a quorum and three.
Three would be, as long as the three of us could agree. Technically, yes.
Yeah, you have to have a unanimous decision when you only have 3 out of 5 people.
That's what I was
Yeah.
curious how it works.
So, yeah, I mean, for a family emergency situation, I'm more than willing to give her the benefit of the
Oh,
doubt.
certainly, yeah,
And,
I wasn't pushing, I was just curious.
yeah, so if we get to third Monday in August and we still haven't heard from Lori, or she's just in her situation where she's not willing to, I mean, I just went through this, and yeah, I just couldn't even,
She's gotta get her priorities.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants her to take away from the.
No, and I agree with you, but we can't keep putting off and putting off and putting off board business because of that, so.
So probably if it comes to middle of August, what day in August is the third Monday?
Is it the 19th?
I think so.
Okay, so what I would suggest is me and Kim, the chair, what are we called?
Yep, chair and
Chair
vice
and vice chair, so maybe by the
Yeah.
15th, we'll get together and we'll have just a meeting between the two of
Yep.
us, which is perfectly legal.
Yep.
And then we'll inform everyone, but let's just plan on everyone being here 6 o'clock.
Well, one question, I know you said the 15th, but Lori, was it the
The
19th?
19th.
So when do Mark and I need to do that in order to give you enough
Well-
time?
Do we need to do it the Monday before?
Well, yeah, or before the Monday.
The
So
Friday,
12th, So,
whatever the Friday before that.
so like August 10th.
Yeah.
Right,
That's- Yeah, this month has 5 weeks, so it feels weird that we
okay.
are doing these meetings so late, but we still have 4 weeks until the next meeting.
Yeah,
So,
I usually try and post the agenda the Monday before,
Okay,
so which would be the 12th.
okay.
So-
the Friday before that, if Friday would
So August
work with
9th,
you.
if we don't hear from Lori's still dealing with what she's dealing with. By August 9th, we'll have a meeting and we'll come up with a situation, and we'll come up with information to let you know what's gonna happen.
And I only ask for curiosity, but also because I'm out of town that week, but I don't think you need us or me here.
Even who was
Regardless.
picked, right, regardless.
You don't
If-
need the candidates.
Right.
Okay.
It's your plan to decide at that meeting.
So, we're just gonna give it that 10 days before, so Laura can get the agenda out to the public. That's what we need, is a week's notice on
Yeah.
the agenda. Okay.
I mean, technically it's like 5 days, but I like to get it out.
I think what Mark's saying, correct me if
No,
I'm
no.
wrong, is that when him and I meet on the 9th, we'll decide if if Lori seems like she's gonna be longer, we'll make a decision that we're gonna vote on the candidate at the meeting in August, but if it feels like there's a chance she may be back, well, then we would vote for the candidate. We're gonna make a decision whether or not August is the meeting to do that. And Laura Lee will let everyone know, because she sends out all the notices. Was I
Yeah.
okay with that?
Yeah.
That's perfect. I just want to make sure I didn't pull anything out.
Okay, so thank you for your patience, and, yeah, we take each day as it comes and we adjust as it goes.
Right, I agree with that.
We are gonna do the director's report and then
Missing a board member, so we're missing a couple board members. That's why we have everything going on that we have going on.
All right, Laura Lee.
Okay, well, I mean, I wasn't sure how, what all we were gonna do, so I'm gonna make it kind of brief here, but, I only printed off like one balance sheet, and I only have a couple of the general fund. Somebody from the public wants to look at those. Okay, so on the balance sheet, basically, the June financials, looks pretty good. We have, there's 156,000 and change in the PEP fund, almost 71,000 in the reserve fund. And the, LGIP has over 155,000. So the total in the LGIP is 382,545 and change. And then, we have some monies going out, but we're doing well financially. And then, the swim club fund. Okay, so this, if you had the budget, or if you had the balance sheet, you'd see this minus $33,386. So that is kind of an ongoing accrual of money that the swim club has used funds out of the general fund. And this goes back to like 2018. So it's not like they're using a lot of money out of the general fund. In fact, I don't think they've used that much technically this year. So since 2018 till current, that's kind of this running total. Well, the swim club checking account is at 35,311. So what I would like to do, and we can do it with the motion, it's because it's just taking money from one checking account to paying back the other one. So we don't need a resolution because we're not like moving money from funds or anything, but I would like the board to allow me to take 20,000 out of the swim club checking account and put it back into the general fund, and so then instead of the minus 33,000, it would be minus 10 or 13.
Being self.
Yeah,
sufficient.
In fact, you know how last month we did the resolution to move 9,000 over? Well, they then ended up in the positive by I think it's like 26,000, 29,000. So just under $3,000. Now, had we not moved them 9,000 over, then they'd be in the hole by almost 6,000 or. So, yes, they're getting better. They're doing, and in fact, looking at just their specific financials, they brought in, I think it was like 15,000 in fundraising dollars. They did car washes, they did a swimathon, they've done quite a few things. And on their dues, I want to say they brought in almost or over 18,000 in dues, which is the most they brought in dues in several years, maybe ever, which is good because again, like COVID just not too long ago, just gutted, from zero. So for them to actually kind of finish this last fiscal year, so close to, it really is a good thing.
So I have a question. Can you help me understand?
Sure.
So we did the resolution last month or last week, whatever it was, to give them $9,000, right? So we moved that from our money to their account. And now you're saying you're going to give us back into the general fund more than we gave them, but we don't have to do.
It's two separate things. So
Okay.
what we did is, because in governmental accounting, you can't have a fund, you're not supposed to have a fund go negative
Right.
at the end of the fiscal year. Well, their revenues were less than their expenses as we were coming into the
Right.
end of the fiscal year. So we transferred over $9,000 into their income side, so then they would finish in the positive rather than being in the negative by the fund.
So that had to be done by June 30th.
So,
Just fund paperwork.
Right.
Now you're talking.
Right. Yeah, so now this 33,000, like I said, we've, every couple years, we do this. And so, I think it was 2018, it might have been 19. So it's not been in the last year or two, it's been like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. We moved some money over from the swim club checking account
right,
to the general fund checking account,
but so you said they have 35,000 in their checking
in their
account.
checking account.
Is the 9,000 part of that?
No,
Okay, so
no.
totally separate kind of thing. Okay, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand the
It-
difference.
I know, it's,
So, okay,
yeah,
all right. And so to give them money the way we did a resolution, but for them to give us back, it's like they're paying back a loan.
I mean, it's not even really a loan, it's just because we don't necessarily ever ask for it back,
Right,
so.
It's a reasonable way of looking at it.
right.
Would you mind giving me that difference, how much we had to end up having to support them this year, since we're at the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah, I mean, I can go print it off if you wanna give me 2 minutes
If
or
the
less
audience,
than
does the
that.
audience want to know that?
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Okay, just give me a minute.
I wish is that we have it the last 5 years, 'cause I know we're getting better, but it's nice. Yeah. Go negative.
Right.
They went back up with their income, and so we're just bringing the money back.
So before I was on the board, the board said that the swim club, the competition team, the Lebanon Youth Competition Team is worth feeding them money to keep them afloat. Because they've never been able to quite support themselves. Been funding them to make sure that that program continues. That's,
I believe.
say it.
And so that first like 6 months or so that I did that, it was like, wait, this is insane, I cannot do that.
Right.
So any employee can't work more than 40 hours, right? Because I can't pay overtime. I mean, we try not to. There's a super rare on occasion in, which hasn't happened this fiscal year, but and, you know, there has been times where somebody's had to get paid overtime. But we certainly try not to do that.
I was thinking more if for a week position, could one of our employees be provided as a coach to the,
Well, they are. The coaches are my employees.
right, but an existing salaried employee of the pool, Jim?
Well,
Jim.
but,
I don't
okay,
think
but,
most of our employees aren't salaried.
Yeah, they're all out.
yeah, they're not. I'm the only one on salary.
Oh, I didn't realize, I already purchased.
Well, technically Jill is on salary, but, in order to have somebody be salary exempt, they have to be supervising,
Right.
so, and
Okay,
so.
I was just curious.
Yeah, and then, of course, then if they are full-time, then you have to pay them benefits, so,
But if we're paying, we'll push a little harder, if we're paying one of, whoever we're paying to coach them, and we have an employee who's not 100% utilized, could their hours not be used to support the swimming club?
okay, well, guards, I mean, they are doing multiple
Okay, that I
things.
didn't know, I didn't know.
Okay,
I thought they
yeah.
were like separate people.
No,
Okay.
no,
So you're already doing, it. That's
Yeah.
good.
yeah,
Just curious about the future, is their goal to get a zero balance?
well, that's kind of been my goal, but let me back up. So let me kind of give everybody like the, like super cliff note version here, so
Sure.
their budget was,
Zoom link went down?
That's fine. It went down like 4 minutes ago, but it's
Oh,
not
maybe
you're behind it.
okay, so the swim team's budget this last year was 54,600. So that's 54,000 in and 54,000 out, right? Well, they brought in, so they closed out the year with 42,678 and change on the income side. And then their expenses was 40,059. Okay, well, that's with that 9,000. So had we not put in that 9,000, you know, by about $6,000. So, but now on the good side, so for instance, I don't have the comparison from, but this year for dues, they brought in 18,470. And I can tell you that that's been the highest amount of dues that we brought in, like, so that was a really good thing. On their $1,000 fiscal year, well, they raised 10,260, 1735 and change below the goal. I mean, that's really good, because some years the goal's been 10,000 and they brought in, you know, like 6,000 or 7,000. So, so I think that's a plus. Oh, and then again, on the dues, 3470. So, you know, I think now, like, you know, we've got two really good coaches that are energetic and they're young. And so the team is growing. So hence the dues figure has way surpassed the goal. And the fundraising is starting to match that. So, I mean, it's a really good thing. And on the expense side, again, the total expenditures were 40,000. So, you know, even without that 9,000, I mean, they're getting closer. So yes, ideally, I wanna see them net every year, not, you know, either break even or, you know, but definitely not go in the hole. And so last year, they actually finished the fiscal year at like minus, it was like $700-800. And so technically, we probably should have done a resolution to move a little bit of money over last year, but I knew we were gonna be more than, you know, the $700, you know, in the negative, which is why I proposed that we move that money, you know, in the May meeting. But, I just, you know, the swim team is really poised to do much better this next year. And, it used to be that we always gave them $10,000 every year. Well, then we stopped doing that because they started doing well financially. And so then our goal was to like eventually get them to be an autonomous club so that they could, you know, become a 501c3 and be autonomous. They'd still be the club that trains here and uses our facility, but we wouldn't necessarily have to financially support them. Well, then COVID hit. And so then we did not, you know, go ahead with launching them out and, you know, having them be on their own. And, but, you know, now I think that if we want to have that as a goal down the road, I mean, they're definitely, you know, making good strides to do that.
I got a quick question. And I don't know the answer, but, is the high school swim team, is the swim club separate from the high school swim team? It is, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So the age group swim club is year round.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's, Mark is a member.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so we take old guys too,
Right,
just as much as little ones. Anyways, well, the high school team, they use our pool for 12 weeks and then they,
But how does that work? Because you're not part of the school district, you are, so how do they put anything into the coffers or not?
no. Yeah,
I think it's right.
well, they pay the coaches, but I mean, but we're still providing lifeguards and,
Right,
know,
right.
the facility for when they have meets and all
They
that
still
stuff.
only charge us $1 for the use of the.
Theoretically, they have not charged me that dollar in the last like 5 years. And I keep telling different board members that, but anyways.
Well, also the water is. Do we pay a lot of that?
They have a well, the high school's
So
on
I
a
think
well.
That's a huge savings.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna ask you that, so this place is operating totally on the well, it's not on the city, you don't use city?
Well, the school tries not to use city water, obviously, for various reasons. But I mean, I think in different, depending on what's going on, like I know there was a time here last summer, I believe, when they told us like, hey, we're on city water now until we can get that fixed. And so please try and conserve as much as you could. So we didn't backwash the big pool like we normally do. And we, you know, we tried to do as much as we could for, I think it was a couple months until they could get that repaired.
But they do it for water bill.
No.
And they do the landscaping?
They do the landscaping, but I wouldn't necessarily call what they do out front landscaping.
Yeah.
Not to our building. Now, the high school buildings look better, but we, like, they don't cut my rhododendron and stuff out here. I have to have somebody do that, so. And every now and then, we have to empty our own trash cans because it'll be overflowing into the parking lot. So technically, I think they do that, but again, like, if I see something that needs done on our part, like, I don't know when they come through. I don't know what their schedule is, so.
When it changed too, when the city got off the contract.
Yeah, yeah, but what I'm saying is we're kind of like, you know, we're not their priority.
You're the stepchild.
Yes, yeah.
But it is a pretty good, from a cost perspective.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
have no
yeah,
complaints. I have no complaints.
I mean, the swim club thing, it's a pretty good trade.
Yeah,
Or swim
yeah.
team.
So anyways, is there any more questions about the swim club? I mean,
Is there a reason to not keep it?
well, are there reasons for them to be autonomous? Yes. Are there reasons for them not to be autonomous? Yes. I mean, it's just, you know, it's half of one, 60 the other, but I mean, I never want to see a time when we don't have a team here.
That's what I was thinking. This way
So,
you're more
just-
secure.
See, there's three models of swim team management, if you will. There is a coach-owned program, a board-run program, or an agency-run. Okay, I'll give you 3 examples. So the YMCA, agency-run swim team. Okay, They're just kind of like us. It's an agency that has a team, they hire coaches, they pay their coaches. You know, you're a member of that agency or whatever, like the Y, and your kids are on the YMCA team, okay? Now, coach-owned teams, CAT and Corvallis Aquatic Team, that's, well, I don't think that's coach-owned, I think that's board-run, actually. I'm trying to think of anyways, there's a coach-owned program where basically the coach forms a team, forms an LLC, whatever.
Yeah.
They have their team, they do what they want. What?
Some AAA that.
They combined with the Y.
Oh.
They used to be, no, they were board run too.
There's a few in between.
Yeah, so, but the thing about a coach-owned team is nobody's gonna fire me if I'm the coach, right? Because it's my team, it's what I say goes. Well, the coach-owned teams are harder, I think, sometimes, for that very reason, because, you know,
Less about the community.
well, maybe not, but, and so then board run programs, it's a board of directors, so autonomous organization, right? Like if this club became a 501c3, they would have their own board, you know, president, vice president, treasurer, all that, for a coach. Now, the problem, obviously, with that kind of model is that if the board decides that they don't like the coach, then, you know, they could just get rid of the coach for whatever reason, and then, and I can tell you, there's been plenty of good clubs that have lost great coaches because their board of directors, like, couldn't get the job done, and so then coaches get frustrated and then they quit, right? So, but, I mean, but regardless of the model of how you run the program, we need to have a team here. So,
Yeah, and I do agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm trying
I
to
mean-
support it because I think shared services will save money in the long run. If they go independent, they have to have payroll, they have to pay a bookkeeper. they have to
Right.
Do all the things we're already doing.
right, and so, I mean, it just would be nice on not having to do another whole budget junction with our budget, because that's essentially what we're doing with the special fund, is, you know, they have their own budget, which is in addition to our budget, and of course, then when there's lean years or when there's financial trouble, then they kind of know that, well, Lad's gonna be here to, you
Pick
know,
up the
support
slack,
us.
right.
Yeah,
Which is true, because otherwise it fails.
yeah, so, you know, I mean, but and in the past, when I first got hired here back in 2006, I was hired as the coach, and it was an agency run program, but the club before us was a board run program, and they were here, most of them were out of Sweet Home, and Lad decided not to renew their contract.
That's what I think.
And so then we didn't have a team, and then Gus, the director at the time, basically was like, well, we need a team back in here. And I think
Has the current board made a goal as to what they want to do with the swim club? They want to
this board,
This board, is there a goal from this board toward that? Has it been discussed?
I mean, I brought it up a couple times to the board. I mean, well, before COVID, that was our goal, to like get them to be because the other thing is when they become a 501c program, then there's a lot more access to funds, right? Foundations and grants, and, you know, if you don't have that, that's why we miss out on a lot of grant funding opportunities, because LAD is its own government agency. Like, we don't have a 501c. And so some grants in there, right in there, if you don't have a 501c3, then, you know, we can't help you. So that's only one of the main benefits to having the club become an autonomous standalone organization, is because then it would help them with fundraising. But
I think it's great that the boards through the years have decided it was important enough to maintain a swim club. However, it worked to maintain it.
right.
So.
And I mean, there's other things we can do to still, like, let's say, for instance, that club was an autonomous and we weren't having to financially help them on occasion. I mean, we could still help them by providing, you know, like little to no pool rental. You know, that's the other thing is, like, I mean, I could open up our pool to area teams and say, okay, we'll sell you some lanes if you guys want to come practice here. You know, because most big teams, like, they're practicing at 2 or 3 other facilities, right? Like Albany team, they have practices at the Y and they have practices at the campus there at South Albany, the main ACP. And then they practice in the mornings at that golf tennis club thing in Albany too. So they have 3 different pools that they can swim at. And so anyways, that's how you still support that club, is by doing things like that. We're not charging them for lifeguards when they're doing practices. So, but anyways, I wanted to move on unless there's any more questions about the swim club. Okay, so just now the general fund in general, I wanted to touch on a few things. So we had a program revenue goal for $190,000, and we came in at $204,132.11. 11 cents. So that's exciting. We smashed our goal by over 14,000.
Good job.
And then our property tax revenue, our goal was 600,000. We came in at 609,872. So we were over on that. And then our delinquent taxes, I thought we'd be around 11,500, and we came in at 10,800. So we still finished the year with more program revenue than we thought and more property tax revenue than we thought. And then our lessons income was almost $68,000. And just, I mean, Jill and I just did the reports that are going to go in the budget book. And lesson income is by far our highest moneymaker. It's not lap swim, it's not rec swim, it's swim lessons. And and we're always trying to rack our brains coming up with, like, how can we squeeze in more lessons, or how can we squeeze in more sessions of lessons? Because, I mean, yeah, $70,000.
Are they always maxed out? I mean, they're always full, I would imagine.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, we have lessons that just started today that go this week and next week. And this session is a little bit lighter. We have a few openings, but generally they're just full and people are on wait lists. So
Is
anyways.
that $6,000 before or after the expense associated with those classes?
68. Well, it's just, everything on here is basically what on the income side. I mean, yeah, it's just revenue. I mean, but you know, obviously, if we look at our expenses, then they're going to be, we're not netting $70,000 in lessons. For sure, we're not. Okay, and then on the on the expense side, our total contract services was almost 32,000 for the year, and our budget was 62,400. So we definitely came in under budget on that. And then, so our total materials and services, the budget was 229,950, and we finished the year with 154,348.
Is that with the boiler?
What?
Is that including the boiler?
No, the boiler is going to be under capital.
Oh, okay.
And then for payroll, okay, or for total personnel expenditures, we were just under our total payroll budget by 27,643. And our part-time temporary, which is essentially like, you know, everybody save myself, Jill, and Jim, that's 27,643. So that's how close we hit to being right on. So anyways. And then capital. So our total capital by the time we moved in that extra money was 105,000, and we spent 104,385. So some of that at the beginning of the fiscal year, we did that camera upgrade thing, and that was 4,300. And then the building, other, which was the boiler, was 95,000 and change. Now, the boiler was 90,000 and change, but then we had that heat coil go out in the men's. So, I mean, as far as it, you know, I mean, I know there's really two different things, but it kind of all went in the same category. So
Just curious, is the boiler good for 10 years or?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Better be. So, yeah, and so anyways, any questions? All right.
So we need to.
One more thing.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I went to, a tour of a brand new pool that they opened up in Medford, Oregon. And, that was really cool. They opened it up in, about 6 months ago. And, they had an ORPA aquatic section meeting down there. And so a bunch of us aquatic professionals went down and had a tour and everything. And it was pretty neat. They had a leisure side with lazy river slides, all kinds of stuff. They had about, I think there was about 155 swimmers swimming on that in the leisure side when we did our tour. They had 8 lifeguards out. And the pool, like imagine our pool, maybe just a little bit longer, with, you know, obviously with a few more things, but yeah, it was nuts. It was-
What was the total budget on that for that?
You know,
Did you
I
hear?
didn't ask. I was
How
going
did they
to, and
fund
but my guess was 60 million, probably easily.
How they fund it?
Well, their name was Rogue X, which I thought was so cool. I thought, man, they should have Josh Gates come down and like do the grand opening thing, like Expedition X. But anyways, the name of the facility was the something credit union, and then Rogue X. So I think they were big sponsors of it, but I'm sure
Or they sold the naming rights.
well, I think it was both, because I'm sure they did a bond of some sort, and then, of course, the credit union got the credit union Rogue X. But it's a community center plus the pool. So you walk down this big hallway, and you literally go by 5 gyms, huge gyms.
Wow.
And they said that they can put on like 10, like they had like 10 different pickleball courts and 5 different basketball gyms, and it was full. I mean, there were kids out,
They're the coordinated recreation.
well, or the city or whatever.
City coordinates all the services, pool,
Yeah.
basketball, a little bit.
And they had state-of-the-art, like, air conditioning and HVAC, because, you know, they have a lot of smoke stuff down there, right? Plus, it's super hot down there. But anyways, it was so cool. But, and then, get this, then you go through these doors, and then they have the lap pool, and they had 14 lanes. 14
Wow.
25-yard lanes. It was like,
It's a growing area.
yeah. Yeah, so anyways, that was cool. So I was glad to be able to go down there. And then this week I have a training that SDAO is putting on, and it's in conjunction with HR Answers, which is an HR firm that they contract with. And they're doing a communication, like a leadership and communication seminar. And so I'm gonna do that on Thursday all day. So anyways, that's all I got for facility.
The one thing they forgot at that area where all the slides and everything was, they put no noise damping. It was like
Oh, it was
walking
terrible.
into a shooting range.
It was terrible.
So loud. It was so loud.
Yeah, in fact, as soon as we walked in there, it was like all of a sudden you're just like at a rock concert, you know, and it was like, whoa, and it's painful. And I told their head guard, I'm like, how did OSHA pass this? Because you have to literally hand out hearing protection to your lifeguards. And she said that she buys those, she has those really nice, like noise canceling, like hunting ear. I have a pair too, but you know, you shove them in your ears and then like you can hear people talk, but it deadens out. Anyways,
So I wonder if OSHA would pass.
well, they
From-
probably wouldn't. I
Probably
mean,
wouldn't.
I just can't imagine that they don't have comp claims sooner or later, because you're gonna have kids getting deaf.
But I mean,
Wow.
I bet they wouldn't agree to the use of the protected
I don't know. I wouldn't want my guards wearing earplugs.
right.
Kind of like several police officers I know have to end up getting hearing aids when they're done because of shooting.
Yeah, it was so loud in there, but other than that, it was a
Beautiful.
great facility.
Can I ask on your HR training or, is there a job, I think so, probably knows where to be, but there's jobs that are within PERS and without, in the same organization.
So, okay, because they have collective bargaining and they have unions and all that good
That's
stuff,
how they do it.
and we are just us. So, yep,
So it has to be structured in a way that probably companies getting to.
yep. And PERS has told us that it's Hotel California. You may go in, but you never come out. So,
Once you've engaged.
yeah, and you can't even go in there and restructure it. The only thing we can do is try and mitigate, which they're doing this in Medford. So, you know, they have about the same amount of staff that I have, but nobody can work over 20 hours.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is I have to have constant hiring of more staff and more staff. Because, I mean, we can't stay open if I make everybody just work 20 hours a week. I mean, oh my
The old
goodness.
McDonald's trick, right, where nobody gets more than so many hours.
Well, we do that. Cool, so it's easy not to schedule them to work. But then your people that can work those daytime hours, like, I mean, then you're having to schedule more and more people. So they don't go over.
And they have to be willing to take less out.
Yeah, and then it's that catch-22, so. And then, of course, minimum wage went up July 1, so
What is minimum wage now?
$14.75 or $14.70, but we're paying $14.75 for minimum wage. So, and I have lost employees to Papa Murphy's and Walmart, because you can go into Walmart and I think you can go in and stock shelves at like $18 an hour. So anyways, I mean, talking about trying to keep staff,
Yeah.
that's how you keep staff. I mean, you know, Sugar Vibes and Hazella's, like, we all love that, and that's great. And I spend lots at those places to get my staff, but, you
It
know,
only goes so far.
it only goes so far.
Mark, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
We gotta vote on the 20,000 going.
Oh,
Do that
do
tonight.
that, we can do that tonight.
No, or we, so we don't need, or
Well, just to make a motion, yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
No, this is.
No,
No, you
from the
do.
checking, not the
Just to
resolution.
move the money from the club checking to the general fund checking.
what do you need?
A motion.
Just a motion,
For how much?
20,000,
From,
from the club checking to the general fund checking.
okay, I make a motion to move 20,000 from club checking to general checking.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now,
And now I'll make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
A second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your patience. We'll get a hold of you somewhere around August.
Yeah.
Important.
Okay, good job.
Yeah.
Well,